Conservation Solutions essentially is a company that provides technical and logistical support for conservation projects throughout Africa. Our focus is on large mammals like elephants and rhinos, but there's no conservation projects that's too small for us to tackle or too difficult for that matter. We've completed projects in I think 14 or 15 different countries to date. We like taking on challenging projects and trying to make a difference at the end of the day. There are a few vital components to us being able to do what we do. 25 years ago it wasn't possible to move big family groups, only small juveniles were moved. So we've developed tailor-made equipment over time. We've got to a point now where it can be done on scale, so we can do meaningful translocations over large distances. A helicopter is a vital key component. We need to find the elephants from the air with a helicopter. We use the helicopter to keep them together and to drive them to a suitable area where we can actually catch and work with the animals. The other moving parts, which are also key, is the equipment that we have. So mostly hydraulics. We essentially lift the elephants upside down by their feet. It doesn't look good, but it certainly is considered to be best practice now. No long-term side effects, and they are loaded into tailor-made, purpose-built wake-up recovery crates. What's important to us is that the elephants are only immobilized for a very short space of time. The quicker we can lift an animal, put it into a recovery box and wake it up, the less risk for the animals themselves, and certainly less risk for us too. It's very important when you are moving or relocating a family group of elephants and re-establishing them to a new area that you catch cohesive groups. So by definition, from the matriarch right down to the smallest animal. In doing this, you eliminate the risk of the animals not adapting or perhaps breaking out from the new area. If you move them in those groups, they settle down nicely, and literally within a day or two of having offloaded them, you would think those elephants had been there for generations. Relocating bulls, given their size, is very different to the family transport units that we have. Bulls by definition are at least double the size, if not more, 2 to 2.5 times the size of a big cow. I mean, they're hard to lift. You need a massive crane, you need a big truck to be able to do that. And at this stage, the technique that we use is a big recovery box. It's basically in 10 pieces. We piece it together in the bush using 2 cranes. 2 or 3 people do it. Once the elephants are loaded onto a truck, we then pull the elephant in, which is on a conveyor stretcher, into this big recovery box, wake the elephant up, reverse the immobilizing drug, and then it walks into a transport crate. So typically a big truck which transports the elephant, we could load 12 or perhaps 15 elephants in one truck. We can only move 2 bulls in that same space, so that should give you an idea of the scale of these beasts that need to be moved. We do administer some tranquilizers along the way, which assist with just reducing anxiety during the journey, and it also helps in the initial day or two of adaptation in the new reserve. South Africa is pretty much overstocked with elephants. As a consequence of good conservation management, there's a huge excess of elephants, and sadly there are very few destinations that can take any of these excess elephants. So we need to look further across our borders to suitably protected areas in neighboring countries. With the advancement of the new techniques that we have at hand, it is possible to move elephants over a distance of 1,500 or 2,000 kilometers. It's important that we can do it at scale now, because the interventions that need to happen at scale. We've just recently completed a translocation in Malawi where we have moved 520 odd elephants in the space of 42 capture days. And this opens a whole new world to us, and certainly to conservation management, and specifically in the elephant space in South Africa.